Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. These are the best cool tone palettes of 2025. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. So this video is going to be a little bit of a teaser. I'm still going to do end of year favorites between Christmas and New Year's. I do that every year. And I've got 4 videos planned out and ready to go. But as I was planning those, I was like, you know what could be fun? To showcase the 10 best cool tone palettes that I've tried all year. This could overlap with my ultimate top 10 in the end. I don't think it will. But these would be my picks of all the new eyeshadow palettes that I tried this year that have a cool, neutral, sometimes a little bit more colorful color story that I rate really highly. And maybe you already own these as well, or maybe you were looking for a good cool tone palette and you want my recommendations. That could very well be the case. So let me get to these palettes because there are some fun things in here. Before I show you these though, I do want to point out that I will leave links in the description box down below so you can easily find my reviews for these. Whenever I review eyeshadow palettes, I always not only include swatches, but I also include makeup looks that I've done with every single shade in the palette. So for me, it's just incredibly important that you also check out my other content because that way you can just hear all of my thoughts in one go. And that way you have all the information in that place. But it's not in this place. It's just in a slightly other place. So be prepared for that. So there won't be any swatches in here. I'm just here to chat about these makeup products and just rave about some really good cool tone palettes I tried this year. Because as I was thinking of 2025, I was like, this was not a year for cool toned eyeshadow. It wasn't really a year for eyeshadow to begin with, almost. It was, if it wasn't for indie brands pushing a lot of eyeshadow palettes, we wouldn't have that many. Actually, I had a look at a couple of websites the other night to see what was in stock. I used to do this all the time. I don't do it as often anymore because it makes me want everything. And there are just not that many eyeshadow palettes around, especially not from mainstream brands. But if I go by what's trending and what I see going around on TikTok, I do think that eyeshadow palettes may be a new trend for 2026. There are so many people who are saying, I want my glam back, or I want to see more creative looks. Clean girl makeup is dead. So it could very well be that maybe within the next year or so, we see more eyeshadow palettes. Who knows? I do have to say, though, that first things become trending online, and then usually the beauty brands catch up like a year later or so. So it could be a while for things to actually come out. So these are mainly by indie brands. There are some C beauty brands in here. 2025 is really the year where I just figured out that C beauty is where it's at when it comes to eyeshadow, because they do really fun things. And why not cut out the middleman? Because all of these indie brands manufacture their palettes in China anyway. So if you buy them directly from those brands, you will have similar formulas, but the C beauty brands are a lot cheaper than those indie makeup brands. So just so you know. Shall we start with those C beauty brands then? Because I think that will be fair. So the first thing that truly impressed me that was a cool tone palette I tried this year is this little quad from Gella. So this is a C beauty brand. This is their Color Phantom Chameleon eyeshadow. This is in the shade M04. I don't remember the exact shade name of this, but this palette is absolutely stunning. It's only a quad, but you do get something colorful, and it's gray leaning, and it gets you multi-chromes. I'm not sure if this lighting really is able to showcase it, but this is one of those like oil slick purple, green, gold sort of shifty shades, but it's still a very cool tone palette. And then there is this really nice sort of like lighter gray. It's got a little bit of like a pinky blue lavender to it as well. So this is also a shifty shade. And if you want to try multi-chromes, but you find them too intimidating, then I think this can be a really nice quad to start with. Not only is it a little bit more affordable than buying some of the bigger palettes I will be showing you in a second, these multi-chromes also aren't super sparkly or flaky. They have a very smooth formula to them, but not with it being like creamy smooth, but just incredibly finely milled smooth. And that's what I appreciate about these. They glide on super easily, they don't crease. So especially if you want to try multi-chromes, but for instance you have textured lids, or you have hooded eyes, and all eyeshadow creases on you, then try and look into this because I think it's going to give you something that is very difficult to find with some indie brands where formulas can be heavier, they can feel more creamy, so they're more prone to creasing. If that's you and you still want to try a good multi-chrome, look into Gella's because they do some beautiful things. Oh, there we have that shift. Do you see that? I love the look of that. It's really beautiful on. Then in 2024, I discovered Cheria and I kept trying them. I actually did place an order for some more of their palettes that they did in collaboration with Freya in the Black Friday sale. So those are still making their way to me. It could take up to 30 days for that package to even be shipped. So I don't know when that gets here, but when I have it, I will show you what I got. This is the Steel Heart palette, and this is one that I really wanted to try after trying the Floating Life and the, what's it called, Jump for Joy. The issue with this brand is that it has, like, even the brand has different names on different websites, and the palettes have different names on different websites, so I never really know what they're called. This, where I bought it, which was YESSTYLE, this was called Steel Heart. And it's the most cool toned, like neutral with a pop, like a couple pops of pink sort of palette that they do. You can see here that it kind of works into little quads. So you have your taupey quad, then you have this more like plummy sort of quad. This has a little bit more of like a bluish lavender undertone to it. And then you get to more like rosy tones with some grays for the neutral categories. So that's also how it plays out. Like you get a taupe shimmer, a purpley lilac sort of shimmer, 2 gray shimmers. This is a really beautiful shimmer. Silver, I should say, and then this black is super intense, but it does have a bit of sparkle to it. I wish this had more shimmers in. I do think pricing-wise, the Cheria palettes have different prices depending on how many shimmers you get into them and if they're part of a collab or not. So I definitely feel their collab palettes are a little bit more expensive than the regular ones are. But they have a beautiful, super matte, super blendable formula. Their mattes are super pigmented as well, like it's intense pigmentation. This just happens to be on the lighter side of what they have to offer, but they have a whole range of these little palettes, and they are really, really good. And they are definitely not as expensive as some of the indie brands that I will be showing you. I think this one was around 25 euros on YESSTYLE, so I think that's very reasonable. This doesn't get you any shifty shades though. So if that's something you want to try, they do that. And the Floating Life, which is the red one, you get a couple of holographic shimmers, which are really beautiful. But that one is then also like closer to 40 euros. But still, you get quite a few shades in here. There are 16 shades in these palettes. So you get a lot of room to play with. Of course, the pans aren't super big, so you're not getting a lot of product per pan. So if that's what you're looking for, this may not be for you. But for me, this was beautiful, and the color story is chef's kiss. Next up is Nimi Beauty, and Nimi Beauty is stocked on MONOLITH. That's where I got mine. By the way, did you know that MONOLITH has their sale again this week? Their December drop is starting tomorrow. So if you were looking for something new, go check it out. My code isn't active at the minute. They deactivate the codes during the sale season. So when they have a new drop, there are no codes that are being activated. But my code will be active again from Wednesday onward. So if you're looking for something new and you want to get 5% off to make like the shipping fees perhaps a little bit more manageable, then that can be a thing. They have loads of new things. I don't think the new Cosmic Brushes, that one that I really want to get, is coming yet. So I think I may order that one from the official Cosmic Beauty website instead. But I noticed a couple of other things. The Bella Beauty Bar Crystallized, they just communicated on their Instagram that it's delayed. So it's not yet in their warehouse. So if you do order that, it's via a pre-order. It's always around this time of year when things need to come from other parts of the world to Europe. Because of so many people ordering things left, right, and center, there are always delays in shipping. So there are a couple of products that have these delays that are part of the new drop. What they did tell me, though, is that MONOLITH is now going to get Unearthly, Bella Beauty Bar, and what was the third brand? Unearthly, Bella Beauty Bar, and Blend Bunny pretty much as things are coming out. And they will not wait for the new drop that they do every month for those items to go onto the website anymore. So if you were looking into those 3 brands, Bella Beauty Bar, Blend Bunny, or Unearthly, then know that those products are going to be listed on the website from now on whenever they have the products in stock. the new release from Blend Bunny, the Haunt Me, I think it's called. I haven't even seen this color story up close yet. I just saw it on my Instagram this morning before I sat down to film the video. So I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more because it's looking interesting, I have to say. But that is already going to be up for ordering on Sunday as well. So Sunday morning, if you're watching this video, it's going to be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. is going to be when you can find these new drops on MONOLITH. And then from now on, those 3 brands I mentioned are going to be stocked as they come in, which I think is really good for the brand. But yeah, that's how I got my hands on this palette. I actually picked it up in their Black Friday sale last month. So this is hot off the press for me. I've already tested it out, which is why I feel comfortable putting it in this video. I haven't put it in my review yet, though. So if you're looking for swatches and stuff, that's coming. I still need to test out one eyeshadow palette before I can film that. So that's going to come in the next week or so. There's so many content ideas in so little time, right? So that's definitely, that goes into it. So here we have some like bluish gray tones in this end. And then we have these like browny, silvery, sort of taupey leaning things. There's only 2 shimmers in the palette, which is always my gripe. I always want more shimmers. But even though, like, if I get a full shimmer palette, I'm never attracted to it because then I don't know what to do with it. But I wish there were 2 more shimmers in here, you could say. But we get some good gray shades in here. The colors work together really well. I just cut this palette in half, did a look with this, did a look with that. I believe I filmed both days that I was wearing those looks. So if you go back to my videos that went live in the past week, you can already see what these eyeshadows look like on my face. This is really beautiful quality, and it's definitely something different again. The mattes are intense. Like the black was a little bit dusty all over, and it still stained the packaging, as you can see. And the shimmers I was really worried about because I thought that these shimmers might actually be oversprays because you can see how dark that pan becomes after usage. But it's not. It's just, I don't know, it's just how the product plays with it. So this is really beautiful, and Nimi Beauty is a brand I had not tried before, so this is my first time testing them out. Let's go back to the start of the year. Very, very early on in January, I had just received all of the bits I had bought for Black Friday last year, and one of the things I bought was Twilight from ColourPop. So I only got to try it in January, so this is one of the first things I tried, and this is such a beautiful, cool tone, neutral color story with pops of color that aren't too bright. So I love the packaging. If you know the Twilight movies and you know what vibe they have, this first movie is exactly this palette. So I love that. I didn't get the New Moon palette because it was super warm toned, and of course Glamlight did some Twilight palettes this year as well. Like Twilight is all of a sudden having a moment. I'm like, 2009 cult, they want their vampires back, you know? But I love these like green tones that we get in here. There's some blue in here, but also all the neutrals that you could want. This, such a stunning taupe. I'm going to swatch that one for you. Live swatch in the video. It's like this really beautiful taupey gray leading shade. Now I need to make sure I put it on a part of my hand where you can also see it, and I can see it as well. Do you see that? It's so beautiful. It has this hint of purple to it. So wear taupe, because taupe is of course a mix of brown and gray. So some taupes can skew quite warm toned, mainly because the brown then takes the like overtone in the shade. But I feel this is a beautiful cool tone version of a taupe. It's got brown, it's got gray, it's got this hint of purple to it, and then this really beautiful icy, almost lilac leaning shimmer. It's amazing. Just for that one shade, I'm happy that I have this palette. The one shade I wasn't so happy with was the pressed glitter, which is up here. ColourPop has started doing pressed glitter again, and I was like, which is why the So Elemental that I tried out in the same video isn't here, because that shimmer, that really beautiful shimmer in the middle, is a pressed glitter, and I hated it. So, it was a no-go for me. So that one is definitely on the declutter pile. I already put it in a box somewhere to like declutter it in March when I do my declutters, because I just knew like this is not it. This is not it. This is beautiful. But the So Elemental, no. Another palette that I tried a little bit more early on, I think I got this in like the Christmas drop that Monolith did last year. I did pay for some of these things with my own money as well. I don't get sent everything by Monolith, by the way. I do still spend my own money on that website as well because they just make it so easy for me to be buying indie brands and getting my hands on those things. So that's why I appreciate them. I started buying them. I started buying there because of you guys. You recommended I check them out, and now they send me PR, which is... If that's something you can make work, then that's, of course, really, really helpful. So we have the Realm of Fairies, and this is by Bella Beauty Bar and Sassy Fairy. And this is really beautiful. It does have a bit of a grayscale, but it does have blues and purples in here as well. Some really beautiful shimmers, especially in here. And this is why I rate this palette so highly. I'm currently wearing another palette that will be in this video today, and you might wonder, Micah, why is that even a cool tone palette? Because your look doesn't look that cool toned. I fully agree, because what a lot of indie brands do is when they do these like fun shimmers in palettes like this, these like flaky, shifty, beautiful looking things that are going to look amazing, even if the mattes are all cool toned, a lot of indie brands tend to put shimmers in with a warm tone shift. So even though the base of those shades are cool toned, because they shift pinky gold, like the one I'm wearing on my eyes today, it's not going to look as cool toned because of how those shades come together. And Bella Beauty Bar just nailed it. They gave us a fully not only matte cool tone color story, but also in the shifty shimmers. Everything is an icy lavender blue, silvery, it's so beautiful. But you do have to like grayish blue shades for this to work for you. If, like me, you like your cool tones to be a little bit more brown, this can be a little bit overwhelming. Like, this is almost too cool tone for me, because I do have a cool to neutral undertone, so I can get away with both. And then wearing too much of this is going to just make me look a little pale sometimes. In the wintertime, though, I love things like this, because that's when I'm at my palest. I'm still sort of getting there. It's usually January when I hit that palest mark. And then these things look really whimsical and ethereal on me. But especially in the summertime, I cannot really pull these things off because I just get a little bit more glow and warmth to my skin from the sun. And it just, even though I wear sunscreen, but people, I wear sunscreen every day. Don't worry. Don't come for me in the comments. I wear sunscreen. But yeah, this is beautiful. And especially in the wintertime, it is a very, very excellent palette. Shall we just continue going in order? Because I think the next thing I then tried was the Creme de la Creme from Glam Shop. People always want me to try more Glam Shop. I love testing out their palettes, but they aren't a brand that is continuously releasing new stuff all the time. I think they do like 2 palette releases a year. And a lot of the things they've been releasing, like palette-wise, have been like quads and stuff. Not necessarily what I want to go for, unless it's something like super special like the Gellas, where it's really something different. They did the cool Glam quad that I also tried this year, but it's okay. It's beautiful. It's really, really good, but I would pick this over the cool Glam. Again, is this fully 100% cool toned? That can be debated. It definitely has really good cool tones in. I definitely think that you need to like see past the peachy background. That's step 1. And this peachy shade. That's the only thing that I feel really makes this palette look more warm toned than it actually is. It's got, again, some really beautiful taupey things in here. A wonderful silver. This black. Black is black on the planet, almost. A really nice, deep, grayish black shimmer with like, it's not like in the Cheria, you get a matte with sparkle. This is a true shimmer. And I don't know why, but for some reason, deep shimmers don't really have a moment at the second. So I appreciate it for that reason. And this has quite a few shimmers in. Just look at it. We get a shimmer here. This entire row is shimmers. And then we get another shimmer in the corner right there. So every row at least has one shimmer, and there's a full row of shimmers in here. The shimmers in this palette though, more like satin metallic, not super sparkly, not flaky, but really easy to work with. Combined with super blendable, easy to use mattes and a beautiful color story that's going to work really well for people with fair skin. Like if you're an olive, I think you may really like this. Like if you have an olive undertone, because these like pinky tones are going to look stunning on you. But yeah, it just has some really fun things in here. And Glam Shop is a Polish makeup brand that I feel a lot of people just sleep on, especially if they are in Europe. We do have affordable indie brands, but you need to look for them. That's just the way it is. Then we're getting sort of like over the summertime. I was trying these things. Something that came out over the summertime, but that I didn't get to test out until like September, I believe, is the Glaminatrix Timeless Tones. I was traveling all summer, so I couldn't really be testing out a lot of makeup. So that's why this was a sort of like put on the back burner, and I got to it eventually. But this is the Timeless Tones, as I mentioned, and this is beautiful. It's not going to be cool tone neutrals though. That's what I mentioned in the intro. We're going to get some colorful shades because a lot of brands have been doing mainly colorful things, I feel. We're not getting a lot of really good cool tone neutrals. So we get some blues in here, some greens. I have said many times before that I wish that this was either a light blue, like with the green row, or that this was in here to complete this row, and that this would be something completely different. Because I just feel that this shade isn't adding much to the rest of the palette. Like we get two incredibly light beigey mattes in here already. So why do we need like a third one that's a little bit more like a gray? Like if this was here, it would have made a little bit more sense. And then just give more shimmers, I think. But oh well. 4 really beautiful topper shades. 4 really beautiful, more like mid-tone shimmer shades. Really beautiful. You get the gradient. I've mentioned that this is what I sort of want Blend Bunny to do more of with their palettes. I love Blend Bunny formula, but their color stories don't always work for me because very often each row will only have one shimmer, and I really need like a light shimmer and a deeper shimmer to make things work on my eye shape because I have such deep set eyes that if things become like if things are too dark, my eyes just look like they are sunken even further. So I want there to be a more brightness in my inner corner to make that happen. So I like having those lighter shimmers in here and those deeper things, and I love that blend. And it also makes the palette incredibly versatile because since these are a little bit more like sheer, like you can use them by themselves. I call them toppers, but you can definitely like just layer one of the mattes in the crease and then have one of those lighter shimmers all over the lid. They can be worked with by themselves, but they are most beautiful because then the shifts actually change if you pair them with some of the deeper mattes and you pair them over it, or if you tap these over the deeper shimmers. That's also beautiful. So that makes the palette a lot more versatile in my brain because you can really mix and match this like a painter's palette and get more looks out of it than just the rows you see upon first glance. And that's one of the things I really want to promote with my channel. I feel like so much makeup is being promoted as unique or different, but when you start mixing things together, a lot of the things, a lot of the times, are going to be super similar. And that's one of the things, like, while I really enjoy the concept of something like a Blend Bunny palette, because they do the gradient, I do not need a gradient. I can just use a different brush and a lighter hand. Just blend. You don't need shades to blend. If you do, you're not doing a really good job applying your eyeshadow. I will stick by that till the end of time. So you do not need a full gradient. That's what I'm saying. So could I create, like based on what's in this palette, I can of course create that shade that I'm missing in here. I mean, I can very easily like take this shade and sort of like blend it together and create that crease shade. But I do feel that some of these lighter mattes are too similar to one another to have in the same palette. That's just how I feel about this one. But it's still really good. Glaminatrix is one of my favorite brands. But this is not my favorite palette release by them that I've tried this year. I've tried quite a few Glaminatrix palettes now, and this is good, but it's not my ultimate. But in terms of cool tones I've tried, I did really like it. Let's see. I think the next thing I tried, it may actually have been in the same video, is the Cozy Cafe by Sydney Grace. This was kindly sent to me by a friend. We did an order together, Esther, and she ended up with an extra one. So if you want to win this palette, because she got me an extra one, you can go into the description box down below. I'm hosting a giveaway this month. It's time to give back. It's December time, but I also want to pick your brain and get some content ideas out of you for 2026. So check out the description box down below for that link, but this is one of the palettes that I'm giving away, and it's really good. It's not as cool toned again as I had wanted to, and that's mainly because of the pinks in the middle. The pinks make it warm toned, which I don't necessarily mind. It's still a beautiful palette. It still comes together. But again, if you were hoping that this were a fully cool tone neutral color story, it's not. We get really beautiful cool tones, especially here in the bottom. There are, again, some like cooler leaning things in some of the rows here. Like this shimmer is absolutely stunning as well. And this top row, while looking quite warm in the pan, I feel, has a slight green tint to it. So again, all of my olive-skinned ladies, if you love looking for like a good neutral palette, I think this can be your holy grail. And Sydney Grace's eyeshadows, we all know this about me, they are some of my favorites. Most of my like single eyeshadows that I keep in my palettes are by Sydney Grace because I love them so much. Their formula, again, like with the Glam Shop palette, not that like flaky, intense shimmer, but very workable, easy to use eyeshadows. Their eyeshadows are, again, a little bit more satiny feeling, a little bit more, like, they can be built up to a full metallic if you want to, and they definitely apply like one, but they're not, like, going to crease or look weird. They're still very impactful shadows, but it's definitely something different compared to something like the Bella Beauty bar with all those, like, flaky things in. And then I think this is definitely a contender for palette of the year, so convince me if you feel this isn't that good. But this is the Dieverune, I've heard it pronounced so many ways. But this is the Magnetic Mineralia, and this is absolutely stunning. We got the snake design on the packaging, and then we have this color story. So beautiful. What I like about this is that you do get the neutrals that you want with some purples, and then these like weird yellowy sort of shades where you go like, will that go? But it goes. And that's what I love about this. This does suffer from but there are shifty shades in here that don't make it that cool toned, especially the shimmers here on either end of those yellows. I feel could have been more cool toned to make this a more cool tone palette. You can see how, like, this is more like a bronzy, almost reddish brown with a green shift. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful shade. And this is more like a bronzy gold. So those two shimmers, maybe not perfect for a cool tone palette, but still really beautiful. And you get a really, really beautiful color story that nicely comes together. This is one of the most unique things I've tried all year. So that's why I keep raving about this, because I just think it's that good. It really is that good of a palette. What I had last year with the Bella Beauty Bar Poison Garden is what I had this year with the Devinah Cosmetics Magnetic Mineralia. I just think it's so good. Then, finally, what's on my eyes today? I decided to do another look with this palette because I didn't feel comfortable putting this in here if I hadn't tried more of it. I tried the Cosmic Beauty Muse and Smoulder palette that came out this year for my October review, but I just ran out of days in October and I couldn't do all of the looks with these palettes, so I tried them to try the formula because I know this brand really well. I've tried them for years. I've been buying their palettes since the Serenity came out, and this confirmed for me like that this is a really good palette. I just needed to see some of these colors, especially these pinks and these like taupey browns we get here on my lids. And this, I used this shimmer all over the lid mainly with a little bit of this and a little bit of the white in the corner. And I'll try to get closer, but you can see that this like pinky shifting shade in the corner, like this way, it looks super peach, and then it's got green, and it's got a very strong pink undertone. So this is another palette that falls victim to the we do loads of really good cool tone mattes, but then we're going to give you a warm tone shimmer. This is by far the most warm tone thing in this entire palette, I do have to say. Like, the rest of the shades aren't that warm toned. I was actually surprised because I started this look off with this in the crease and then this to deepen things up. And I don't feel that's overly peachy. Like, it's still fairly neutral. It still has that pink, but it's really that shimmer that makes everything look so much more warm toned than it actually is. So that's something to bear in mind. I think from now on with this palette, I'm just going to ignore that shimmer in the corner. The other look I did with this is this one. And then sometime this week, I'm going to do the look with this little 6 pan here. I think that those shades are all going to be fine. It's really just a couple, like maybe these two, that make it a little bit more warm toned. So if you don't mind, like for instance with the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz, I don't mind that there are a couple of warm tones in, because it does make palettes like this from being too ashy for a lot of people. So I do want that to want you to bear that in mind as well, because I sometimes get comments from people like, yeah, but I'm super cool toned. I really cannot pull off a single warm tone. But you're in the minority. There are loads of people who actually need a little bit of warmth in their makeup to make it look good. And I think those shades are in there for that. But with this palette, you would still have 18 shades that are perfectly fine for you, I think. So you can definitely make this work. Or if, you know, you don't have to buy this, of course, if you don't want to. But maybe you already have it, and maybe you were frustrated with it not being as cool toned as you'd hope. I do think that if, depending on how you pair things, this can look more cool toned or a little bit more warm toned depending on which shades you put together. That's just the way I feel. But yeah, for instance, if you don't like how gray this is or how gray this is, if you were to take a shade like that and you sort of blend them together, or you blend the slightly more warm tone shade a little bit over the cool tone shade while it's already on your eyes, you can take a little bit of that ashiness that it might have on you. So if you have the experience with cool tones pulling ashy on you, then a palette like this can be really perfect. But if you are super cool toned and you only want like almost gray tones in the palette, this may not be for you. That's what I'm trying to say. But I really like it. So I do really think the look I did today is really beautiful. I went a little bit more, like, I don't know if it translates well on camera, but I went a little all out with shimmer in the inner corner. Like, I think you can see it a little bit better if I turn my head this way. I've been seeing everyone on TikTok like applying loads of shimmer to this area of their face. And I've decided this week that I'm going to try it for myself. So a little bit more creative, a little bit more fun than what I would normally do. I do sometimes put eyeshadow there, but it does look really intense because my eyes are so deep set, I find. So if there's like a really bright shimmer like I have there today, it like really makes that area pop. Oh well. But yeah, those were all of the cool tone palettes that I think I would recommend based on what I've tried this year. So if you were looking for a good cool tone palette, then maybe look into these, because that's like I would just want to be helpful. If you were considering buying these, then maybe that's what you were looking into. Then now you know how I feel about these. And like I said, you can go into the description box down below and find those reviews to see all the swatches, and you have everything in one place. And you can also hear my initial reaction, like true review of these palettes. This is me just giving you a list. Like, check these things out. I always feel like this is another reason why I don't want to do swatches in every single video, because if I put a swatch in every single video, I make it easier for you to take the decision. The easier I make it for you to take the decision, I'm a better influencer, because you like that. Brands like that because you will buy more. But I'm trying to get you to slow down. And that's why I don't put shimmer or swatches into every single video, because then you need to go seek out other information, and the minute you need to seek out more information, you are less likely to buy something. So I'm just trying to protect you guys. I'm not trying to be unhelpful or anything, but remember, I do this besides working a job and teaching, and my job at the minute is a little bit crazy. So I want to do fun videos for you guys, but if I already have the content in a different place, I'm gonna refer you to the other place. I hope you don't mind. So thanks so much for watching this video today. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on your best cool tone palette of the year. What did you try that you thought was worth it? And then I really hope you stay tuned because I will be back with, like I said, my end of year favorites at the end of December, and I do post regular content with eyeshadow palettes anyways, and I already have seen so many good comments on my little giveaway form to help me decide what I want to do content-wise. So I definitely, thoughts are brewing. I have a whole notes list in my app on my phone where I like keep track of all of my ideas that I have now that I'm seeing all these comments coming in. So I'm like, yep, I think there's going to be a little bit of an overhaul of what content I will be focusing on. So I hope you look forward to that as much as I am. And then I will be back with a new video really soon. So for now, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye-bye.